Hello? Hello, hello? This thing on? Hello? There it is. Hello, Chibi. How are you doing? How goes? How goes all? I like the reverse capitalization there. It's all good fun. How are we doing? Excited for Falls AU. I hope it's a good one. Not entirely sure how this is going to go, but it's worth a shot. So we're doing Final Fantasy VIII, as the title may imply. If anyone's worried about spoilers for the game, I've chosen to do this. Well, you finished your essay, so after this stream, you're just going to collapse. Yay! Marvelous, and well done for finishing your essay. Sounds like you were sort of having existential struggles through it. I'm proud. Yay. Yeah. So yes, we're doing Final Fantasy VIII. This is going to be more in the vein of the Dark Souls one that we did. So I've taken all the bosses and drawn a little picture of them, and we're going to try and work something out to make them have a story. It's not great, but whatever, it's done. Yay! Excitement. Yeah, so if you're worried about spoilers for this, you should be fine. Final Fantasy VIII doesn't actually have that many bosses. I've also taken out all of the characters who were bosses, because that's kind of spoilery. If, you know, when we eventually get around to doing the draw through, if I introduce a character and you're like, oh, he's a boss at some point, then, you know, that's going to be a bit of a giveaway. So it's just the monstery ones. And in the tradition of Final Fantasy, and probably a lot of JRPGs, the bosses in Final Fantasy VIII tend to just sort of come out of nowhere. So you probably won't be able to extrapolate much of the story from the designs, particularly given that there's a point in the game with an unusual concentration of bosses, none of which have anything to do with the story. So if you can pick out the ones that actually are relevant to what's happening in the story, then I'll be very surprised. So don't worry about spoilers. You will see these during the draw through, but then you won't be able to work anything out. It should be fine. So let's get going. This is the first one I drew, but I might as well start on it because it's a bit of a weird face. It's a face, yes. Yeah, so I'll just go through the ones that I've chosen. There are only 20. So feel free to, like I say, I haven't had any characters in this, and I don't really know what format of a story we're looking for. So if you want to invent characters, you're more than welcome to. We don't have as much material to work with as we did with the Dark Souls one, so seems fair. Hang on, I'll just move my microphone slightly. There we go. Okie dokie dokie. Right. So first things first, we have a Sphinx friend. There's, and as is in the Final Fantasy tradition, there's a lot of accoutrement in their design. I'm pretty sure that head is actually a helmet of some description, but regardless, we have Sphinx. Not what you expected. That's fair enough. A lot of these are not what you expect, but you know, feel free to piece together. You don't have to use all of them, obviously. We can pick and choose which ones we want. So we have Sphinx friend, and then we have Angry Doggo with horns and Mohawk, but although I didn't draw it very well. I drew all these in like the last hour or so, so my apologies if they're not, if they don't make an awful lot of sense. But yeah, we've got a big old Angry Doggo, and it's got a very fluffy chest for some reason. I'm doing these in no particular order, so as is my wont. I attempted to divide them up into sort of like convenient categories, and the best I could come up with was magical, fantastical, mechanical, and grotesque. So I think they're roughly in that order. There's a weird mishmash of stuff in this game. So yeah, we've got Sphinx and we've got Dog Friend. And then we have Dragon, I suppose. It's got legs and arms, so it's probably a dragon. Kind of pointy thing. These are mechanical. I mean, I don't know what they look like inside. Maybe. So yes, we've got Spiky Dragon Friend, with big old shoulder pieces. I've noticed that's a trend in this game. There's a lot of big old pauldrons on things that shouldn't probably have pauldrons, but there we are. So yeah, there's a dragon. Also, hello miss, how you doing? Then there's buff, angry lion horn friend, manticore human thing with terrible anatomy. It's fine, don't worry about it. Yeah, so you got that. This is my favourite. It's a strange design to begin with, but I quite like how I drew it. I don't really know what this is. It's a kind of lizard, but with the back half of a lion or something. That's clearly a horse. I accidentally managed to draw a horse. No. Yeah, so I like this one as well. Gecko cat, yeah, feel free. I mean, like I say, all we're taking from these are the models. You can do whatever you want with it. You can make this the main character if you want to. It's entirely up to you. Oh, Chibi's already suggested it. I'm not going to stop you. Same brain, yes. What have we got next? Then we've got this thing. Don't really know what to say other than this is what it looks like. I always kind of like the design of this thing because it's so abstract in a weird way. It looks like it's lifted straight from Final Fantasy X. I feel like they used Final Fantasy this particular boss as the inspiration for Final Fantasy X. It's just this sort of big thing. Obelisk the Tormentor. You're good, and so you're over here. You're heading out for the day. Just gonna say good night to you, good Euros now. Well, have a wonderful day, Crow, and thanks for popping in. Hope you have a good time. You are good, that is true. For a second you thought it was a Pokemon. We can make this a Pokemon game if you want. Like I say, I don't know how we're going to turn this into a game. Like with the Dark Souls one, we went with the general format of a Dark Souls game. Maybe we can go with the general format of a Final Fantasy game. I don't know, but it's sort of up to you. Yeah, so we got that one. It's got a tiny little head in amongst the strange proportion. It just sort of floats. It doesn't actually have legs. This is just sort of like a cylindrical thing. Yeah, so there's that. I don't know how to explain what this is, because I clearly didn't draw it particularly well. But it's a GIF. Look at it. It's floating along like a jellyfish. It's strange. If you see that, if you go diving and you see that, swim away, I think. Have a good day, Crow. We'll be here all day trying to make a JRPG plot. That's fine. I mean, most JRPGs are just a lot of busy work in between an actual plot, which is very simple. So we could do that. Scorpion chicken friend. Yeah, it's sort of like, this also floats. I think when you kill it, you get an item called a jet engine, so I don't know whether it's got like a mechanical component to it, but it's got like a little face in the front under here. This is like an eye. And I think there's probably a mouth as well. But it's just got sort of like chicken legs and then these things which are like wings, but they're just sort of pointy scorpion bits. Strange design. XCOM alien. Yeah, pretty much. Then we have Big Lion with small wings. And big old claws, look at those. Big old claws. This is supposed to look like a lion. My apologies for it not looking anything like a lion. You know me. I had to draw these in an hour. The back half of it is just sort of turning into a weird mush, but we can just have a line if we want. It's fine. Looks like a big liar too. Ooh, that's somewhat appropriate for games. Not gonna say why. Then we have whatever this is. They're missing a face and a chest. This is hollow, I should point out, with this sort of weird orb in the middle, same as the head. Yeah. That's a thing. There you go. Work with that. Gamer girl. It's weird, you kind of like it. So then we have whatever this is as well. I don't know what's going on with the chin thing, but that is what it looks like. So it's got massive arms and like a weird stinger for a bottom half. Upside down Johnny Bravo. Kind of, I don't know. It's, yeah, weird flying bat thing with a huge chin. There you go, that's the thing. The wonderful thing about some of these bosses is that when I do the draw through and I say, right, I've got to draw the boss now, you're going to have no idea what boss it is I'm going to draw next. It's great. Because, like, when in a story would you expect this? First look, it was just a teeny dude with horns hiding behind a sideways cone on a demon torso. Oh yeah, I can see that. Romance scene. I mean, no, that's going to be even weirder, actually. You wait till that. You wait till that. Anyway, then there's this. Apologies, miss. It's not really a spider. It's only got 4 legs, but it's definitely trying to be. It's also made of metal. Monster dating sims, yay! So yeah, there's that big old sort of insect. I'd say more insect than spider, but it's clearly trying to be a spider. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of mechanical things in this game. So yeah, there's that. Then there's this, which is just a sort of tank with a eye thing on the front, or a cannon or something. I'm not entirely sure. It looks like a power station. Magnemites. It's magnemite, but made up of electromagnets rather than rare earth. Yeah, so that's the thing. This is where I'm not entirely sure how you're going to incorporate these things into the story, because what even is this? You know? Best of luck. Speaking of what even is this, this is also a mechanical thing. It's sort of like a robot, but it's like a futuristic kind of robot, and it sort of floats as well. Lots of things float in this game. It's an abstract painting, kind of. These are like sort of pauldrons where arms should be, but there are no arms. And it just sort of, it has this weird sort of head-shaped thing on, well, not even head-shaped. It's just, I don't know, just a sort of weird floating robot thing. Looks all futuristic and spiky. I'm pretty sure the shoulder bits come off and float around as well. Good luck. Like I say, feel free to invent characters. It's like they only made half the robot. Yes, exactly. It feels like it's definitely missing something. But, I mean, we can design something for what it's missing. I'm not going to say no. Then we've got this friend. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think.
That wasn't necessary of you, but you have my thanks.
Director Sevenin. They're supposed to be Director Sin. Thank you for following. It's very kind of you. Shoulder bits of veggies. There's veggies. Let's see the robot from Labyrinth getting work. Need to watch that. I didn't realize Terry Jones apparently did the first screenplay for Labyrinth. It got changed a lot, but there we go. Rip Terry Jones. Anywho, speaking of friends, here's a friend. Again, there's a hollow motif in this game where things are just sort of missing bits, but still kind of having the outside bit. Strange. Like I said, do you remember my 4 categories were magical, fantastical, mechanical, and grotesque? We're starting to get to the grotesque ones. Yeah, so this is a friend. They're sort of submerged in the ground. Who knows what the bottom half looks like? Who wants to know? But there you go. Also, hello Kiro and Chris. How you doing? That's up to you, Jibby. I will not say otherwise. Worst Diglett. I mean, kind of like. I suppose this isn't spoilers for the draw through, but you do find throughout the games you find enemies that are like just the head and these hands sort of poking up the ground. So it's meant to be a kind of surprise when this one pops all the way up and you see the hollow torso and all that sort of stuff. It's kind of like an interesting thing. So seeing this much would be unexpected when you're playing the game. Then what do we have? We have this friend. Complicated design, sort of made of bones, but weird shaped bones. It's got wings and tusks. Yeah, just a sort of strange, bony, tusky, odd thing. Cool, friend. Bone bug. This is a little bone bug friend. Bone bug chicken? Bone bug chicken. Why not? Like him, it's cute. Yeah. It's not that cute in the game, but you know me. I've got to draw these things. And then there's this thing. Which does only have 3 arms. And is very asymmetrical. And covered in crystals. I Only 3, yes. Maybe there was another one here, and there was like that, and then there's another here, and then but it snapped off at some point. I don't know. But for now, only 3. Only. I say only 3 because I expect if there's an arm there, I expect there to be another one there. Like, I'm looking to complete the symmetry rather than take things away. I'm assuming the things that are there were supposed to be there to begin with. Seems like it got stuck in a crystal. Like, the crystals actually aren't meant to be there. Ooh, it's having a bad time. Can only give one to the floating robot missing both arms. I mean, we'd still have the odd number, I suppose. No clip. Yeah, he tried to cheat. This was what happens to cheaters. Then there's this friend as well. He's like a big flying insect bug thing with spiky hands, and he's got a friend who's like an armadillo. In fact, I think he's got 3 friends who are armadillos, but it's either Secret Evolution, yeah. And it flies, and I don't really remember an awful lot about it. Like, as I say, most bosses in Final Fantasy games kind of come out of nowhere. So, you know. Pokemon, maybe. Then there is this thing, which is, yeah, I think where I got the idea for the category of grotesque. Dark Souls. Yeah, it's just a sort of oddly mutated person. Again, asymmetrical, but it does have 2 arms. Clink. That's a Julia. I mean, yeah, I can't really argue. So yeah, you've got the sort of, again, sort of hollow aspect. You sort of see weird organs bulging out of it and limbs the wrong size and oddly mutated thing. It's a fun fact, in the original Japanese version, those organs were red, but when it was moved over to here, because it's a game for kids, they had to colour them blue, so that it wasn't like gore. She would adopt it. Why not? And then this friend, who I also like. Who is also kind of grotesque, but I drew them kind of cute, so I like them. Yeah, don't really know. It just sort of slides along the floor, doing its thing. Someone needs to put them back in the water. Yeah, they're a bit wet. Friend and also a mood. No. But I think that's it. There's not many bosses. Once I've taken out the characters who turn into bosses, and repeat bosses and stuff like that, and optional bosses as well. Like, I think almost all the optional bosses are summons. So I decided to take those out. I had to draw these in an hour. Cut me slack. Right. How many are called Jesse? I mean, maybe we can pick a different name for Final Fantasy VIII. Who knows? Or, funnily enough, actually, bear this in mind for Bloodborne. This is an interesting parallel. All bigs. So yeah, I mean, where do you want to start? There's some odd things. Yeah, I don't really know. Do we want to try and start working out like a general story plan first, or do we want to just sort of jump into it? Flipping out all of these. Yeah, it was from 5:30 to 6:30 was the time on this. I used reference. Other than that, you said Gecko Cat is protagonist. I mean, I'm fine with that. Do you miss or do you? So we've certainly got the favourite in the form of Gecko Cat. I will say, just for the sake of reference, if we're going to do something that's like a Final Fantasy game, there aren't many themes that go through all of the games, but one of them is the idea of like 4 elements or 4 crystals or something like that. So that's something we could stick onto, which is similar for Dark Souls, actually, but when we did that. Does the RPG have an evil or at least misguided military, so there's a start for the mech? True. You really think you do? Its cat name is Glue. Yeah, I kind of forgot about this boss, to be honest. It's like, not an optional boss or anything. Just forgot about it, and then I drew it, and I'm like, now I love this. So yeah, let's just for the moment, let's just say, okay, so here's the sort of mechanical stuff. For if we want to separate these things out, I suppose you could also argue this is because it's made a big thing made of metal. I assume there's someone inside, but whatever. Maybe military sort of widget. We've got the friend, and then maybe the other friend. I don't really know where else to go. It's all just sort of weird stuff left. Should I separate it into things that only exist in Final Fantasy games? Like that. And then that. And then that. Like I say, it sort of depends on what sort of story we want to come up with. Because again, the reason I wanted to do the Dark Souls 2 one was because the bosses didn't have a good story, and I wanted them to have a good story. It's the same here. Like, most of these bosses literally come out of nowhere. And I want them to have something, you know? There's totally a Yu-Gi-Oh monster. Yeah, fair enough. Sort of. Yeah, I get that. You're thinking of where to go. Like, all story beats are fine. As I say, because we have far fewer bosses than Dark Souls 2, feel free to add things. We're just sort of using these as a base. I just want them to have meaning in some respect. So yeah, just for those of you who maybe came in a bit late, there's a Sphinx friend, there's a big angry pup with horns and small wings, there's Dragon with big shoulder pads, angry lion horn person, mechanical spider thing, tanky thing, whatever this is, big suit of armor, this lion-esque this, person without face, person with too much face, person with not enough of a lot of things, chicken skeleton friend. The grotesque kind of make you think of human experiments. It'd be interesting consider giving our protagonist isn't human. Okay, so the sort of experimenting. I mean, this automatically goes into the experiment bin. Possibly this as well. Yeah, kind of like Chimera, yeah. Sort of. I mean, I don't know where the human bit comes in for this. Could just be experiments in general, but who knows? Again, I love how similar a lot of this talk is to the Bloodborne, but we'll get there. Yeah. This could maybe be, because it's sort of like almost like a human, but like lots of weird things have been happening to it and have been added. You can sort of see how a human would start in this. Chimera doesn't have to be human. Someone said human. Yeah, grotesque made you think of human experiments. That's where I was. That's a reference I do not quite fully comprehend. I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I don't understand the context. Oh, the person with no face and no chest. Ah. This one. When you say no face. Sorry, I thought you were making a reference to Ghibli. And I was like, really? Don't seem human, seems very unhuman to me. But I'll take your word for it. Turns out, shouldn't have done. He has arms and a head. True. True. One day will get me to watch Ghibli films. Like I say, they're coming to Netflix over here, so it's a shame I don't have Netflix, really. Trying to consolidate some of these. It's more human shaped than most of the others. True, true. I mean, this is kind of, it has arms and a head sort of thing with shoulders. It's fine, miss. Don't worry about it. So this one is arguably harder than the Dark Souls one because not a lot of these are sort of humanoid. As I say, you're more than welcome to have the characters and the protagonist and all that sort of stuff be purely invented, and then have these as the antagonists. It's up to you. Got a new account because VPN, so you can watch the good stuff. Marvelous. You kind of like thinking we're playing from the monster's point of view in a kind of monstery world. That's fair enough. Good ideas. I like the creativity. It's a shame I can't sort of have this in sort of more fidelity for you to see on screen at any given time. Can you make out any of these? Maybe it's worth thinking, like, okay, who's the antagonist? Because when we did the Dark Souls one, we picked a final boss first, didn't we? We picked the most important one and sort of built it around that. So most of these are like friends, NPCs. Oh, okay. What if these are main characters, NPCs, and the humans are the bosses? Ah, right. So it's like a kind of reverse JRPG. And it's like, I don't know, you're just sort of existing in this other dimension of monsters and stuff like that, and then suddenly the humans come through a portal and start killing things, and you're like, why are you killing us? It turns out one of the monsters went to the human world and messed things up, and now they're coming here to wreak their revenge, and you're like, we didn't do anything. Just because one of us found the ability to go to your world doesn't mean we deserve killing. The one that has no face would be a good final boss? Upside down seas. Like, it's kind of, I don't know, it sort of makes sense when you sort of play these games. You go to an alternate dimension or space or something strange at the end of the game, and then you just start killing things, and you're like, you've never been here before. You just arrive, and then you kill all of the local fauna, and then fight the final boss. It's like, they don't know what you are. No Face has that weird ethereal final boss feel. That's fair enough. Are you suggesting that this is not final boss material? I for one, feel attacked. Can't stop thinking of Skitterbug. Skitterbug. Okay, so we've got the possibility of this being a final boss, maybe? Right over there. So maybe it's like, if there's the cause, like this is a thing that has left the monster world and gone to the human world and messed things up. Maybe No Face went to the human world, got all the humanified, and started experimenting with human-monster hybrids. Oh, right. So there is the sort of the monster world, and then there's the human world, but one of them crossed over and started. It's kind of like Final Fantasy VI, only much more sinister. But yeah, yeah, that's an interesting idea. What if you start off as the slug, and as time goes on, the protagonist evolves through the other monster forms as the game progresses? Ooh. If you no longer as a corrupted human monster boss, I kind of get that. These sorts of, so these can sort of go in the evil pile. Oh, I'll have the evil pile over here. Maybe the mechanical things, the things that the evil monster human thing built in order to get to the stage that they could start building an army of human monster hybrids or whatever. It's going to be difficult to force people to become human monster hybrids if you don't have any force to begin with, so they made mechanical ones first and then worked from there. A suffering dark kind of one. Maybe it's somebody you used to know, and then you find them in this state, and they're like, kill me, like that. But they're also turning into a monster, so they can't They can't help themselves. I keep finding parallels between existing Final Fantasy games. None of this is Final Fantasy VIII, I just want to point out. Good world building. That's what I like about these. We're just sort of coming up with a story for these things, which never had a story. So we've got sort of big bad. Sort of, I don't know, mechanical army sort of thing. For the big bad, which they used to, or they built up. Maybe big bad is capable of transforming between human and monster, sort of at will, and as a consequence, sort of exists in both worlds and can help manipulate both worlds. But this is their true form. Well, this is they've forgotten what their true form is, so they're sort of hollow. They're sort of in between, sort of weird thing. You like that idea? It has the chibi seal of approval. That means I'm happy. Stop changing my thing. Human monster. Shapeshifter, I guess. And maybe you encounter this character as a human and as a monster, and then there's a reveal that they were the same person all along. And they were the same entity all along, I should say. I like twists and reveals. Have I ever mentioned that I rewrote Final Fantasy VIII so that it made sense and had interesting twists? Anyway, definitely like the idea of coming across them earlier in the game. I like, yeah, stories which sort of sow seeds of twists for later on without you even realizing they're doing it. Always good. You should tell us one day. I mean, maybe I'll get like those of us who are all fans of Final Fantasy VIII, and we'll all sit down and go, right, how can we fix this? Evil Queen / Witch from the Snow White deal. Your favourite RPG series does that a lot, so seeds of things to come. It's good. That tends to be how I write stories and twists and stuff like that. Just little clues here and there. Not subtle, because I'm not a very good writer. But I feel like I need to learn more about The Witcher just so I can communicate with you guys. Maybe the human monster is messing with both worlds. Oh, hello. What was that? Maybe make the human. Maybe the human monster is messing with both worlds to get them to fight each other to weaken them both. No, hang on. My chat's being weird. Let's go. Yeah, that makes sense. Maybe they're trying to convince both sides that the other side is causing the problem, as it were. So like they're trying to get both of them to turn on each other. Do they know about each other before this happens, or is this like a sudden introduction? They're like a sneaky villain. We did that last time, didn't we? We had the one that was in charge, and then the one that was really in charge. It's always good fun. It's Noobs. Hello, how you doing? We're taking Final Fantasy VIII bosses and trying to write a story for them. Because why not? Might be one of your favourite villain tropes. It's good. Sort of gives them purpose rather than just, I want power. It's like, no, I want to destabilize this existing system so that I could use it for my own personal gains. Like, there's a reason behind things. Yay. So, like, maybe... Who even knows? You bought nice comfy sweats and now you're reaping the benefits. Fantastic. Can anyone understand my hurried, capitalized writing? Maybe the human monster has also manipulated the protagonist during the game. Yeah, possibly. Maybe they were part of the army or something. Who knows? Big Bad manipulating everyone else. Yeah. So we've sort of got some of them in place. Maybe we switch sides, maybe. And then maybe we switch sides again because we work out that, hey, things weren't, you know, it's not good v evil, it's actually a bit more complicated than that. It's misguided versus misguided. And then we all learn a valuable lesson. Over the course of a 60-hour game, so you've forgotten what happened at the beginning. Gravy Grey is always good, yeah. Got to understand. Nobody's inherently good and nobody's inherently evil. Cetera, cetera. Cool, so we've got some of them in place. What are the sort of hybrids? Is this feels like it's part of the army, yeah? This sort of big old thing. Is it mechanical or is there an entity inside it? What's left of an entity inside it? Who knows? I feel like that should be part of it. I don't have space. Does look kind of mechanical, maybe. Maybe it's like... Hang on. Nope. There's a sneeze there somewhere, but it's not coming out. Maybe there's like... I always like trying to find like recurring mini-villains, as it were. Maybe the sword guy is a mech suit, humans made for fighting monsters. Ooh, that's a good... I like that. So we'll move this away. This is... Mech suit for humans. But then it turns out that the mech suit is doing something weird to humans and turning them into monsters because they were designed by the big bad. Who knows? I don't know. The tiny goblin inside. So this is essentially how you construct a sort of a JRPG story. You come up with a very basic plan for the plot, and then you go, right, let's come up with all these tiny little plots that kind of spring out from it. To answer a question you asked earlier, I do think that the human world and monster world have been aware for each other for long. Okay, that's cool. 10 out of 10 goblin noise. Hello, Plamp! You awake? Hello. We glad you awake. So we've got sort of... This over here. This is the sort of... You also have coffee. That's cool. Very helpful for continuing to wake. You got coffee before you came to a stream. That's just... The world has gone topsy-turvy. What's happened? So as a rough reintroduction, for those of you who aren't here, we're taking the bosses from Final Fantasy VIII. I've taken out all of the bosses that are just characters to avoid spoilers. And we're just working out an interesting story. The idea we've had so far is the idea of, because there's a lot of monster sort of concentration here, an idea of a story of like sort of two sort of worlds, a human-run world and a monster-led world, that are suddenly being drawn into conflict by a creature that can flip between the two and is sort of manipulating both sides. You're about to go demolish a building in a tiny village. Oh no, it's not someone's house. Ah, okay. Yeah, and this is our protagonist, because why not? It's a rad idea, yes. This is a good chat idea. Because he's a friend, yes, but this is our ally. We'll have long dog, lizard long dog. There's an angry dog there. Eh. So, like, I suppose we've got, like... So who would be... If these are established, as it were, societies or whatever, I don't know to what point, or to what extent the monster society is a society, rather than just a collection of monsters. Long Dog and Puddle Boy. There's the Adventures of Long Dog and Puddle Boy. Yeah, so I don't know to what extent there is a oh yeah, we wanted this to be a sort of part of the sort of experiments of turning humans into monsters, I think. This is an in-between. So hang on, let's get the ones that we haven't done anything with and put them up here for now. Yes, I am still listening to music, YouTube. Thank you very much. This feels like... I feel like this should be like a kind of recurring... the kind of stoical knight, as it were, that follows the big bad and is the stalwart defender of their plan. You like the idea of it being an actual society rather than a collection of monsters? Cool, cool. So in that case, we have the actual societies of humans and monsters who, before all this happened, or while all this is happening, who's in charge? So if we have... Ooh. Hang on, let's move these guys over here. These are the sort of... general monsters. Protag. Ally. And this is the sort of... Oh yeah, maybe the machines... have you changed my lasso again? No, you haven't. Program's being silly. So this is sort of like a human to monster sort of experiment. This is something that the humans have... Why did that keep happening? Let me select. There you go. Something that humans have made to fight the monsters. So maybe the mechanical stuff... Maybe the mechanical stuff is actually the humans. Maybe the humans made the mechanical stuff. Lasso, you work approximately 50% of the time. That'd be great if you could work a bit more than that. This music's sending your mind back in time. That's cool. Oh, that's because that's not a lasso. That's okay. That's the stupid thing. So if we put these sort of in between, and we've got sort of like human stuff over here, and monster stuff over here. Feel free to come up with a better word than monster. They're referred to as monsters by the humans, but they've got their own name. Lord knows what it is. So yeah, the humans have the sort of mechanical army that they're using to fight against, and you've got the mech suits for the humans to fight the monsters, which is sort of turning them more into monsters, as it were, or at least sort of helping to bridge the gap. You've got the big bad that's sort of sitting in between and is turning... well, let's put both of these at sort of... Oop. Stitch that word back together. There we go. Namus. That sounds absolutely 90s JRPG. It's just a word but backwards. Love it. The humans and the Namus, because subtlety is overrated. Yeah, so this is the sort of I don't know, sort of general or sort of person in control of the sort of... yeah, maybe this can be the sort of... that this thing is the monster that's sort of in charge of the monster, the Namu sort of military or whatever, and it's the one that's sort of inciting the idea of, yes, we should fight the humans and so on and so forth, but they're really either being manipulated by or under the direction of the big bad or whatever to sort of start this conflict. Maybe there's an equivalent on the human side. Obviously, we don't have a lot of humans to work with. I feel like this could also be an experiment. Stick that there. Do that as well. Who knows what these things are? You've got an odd number of arms. The human monster experiment got stuck in a crystal. They tried different types of monster experiments because there's a lot of diversity of types of monster that exist. So they're like, well, how can we get from human to monster in various ways? It's much more difficult to go from monster to human. Which maybe one of these is like, maybe this was like monster to human. So it's something that sort of used to be more monsterish, but it's sort of, you know, they're sort of hollowed it out and they're trying to get rid of all the monster and sort of turn it into human or something. And that's how we know this character from before. Because they used to be a monster and now they're turning into a weirder thing. Maybe this is... Like the idea if a monster turns into a human, it turns hollow. Yes. Which is probably where this motif of hollowness sort of comes from. So, sort of... And this is the opposite. This is trying to the early experiments of turning a human into a monster, and there's just a bit too much in there. They couldn't quite fit it all in. To do with you. Sort of. Edge spell aggressive. That's probably not right. Is there any 1G? 1S? We'll go with that for now. Human to monster is too many bits, monster to human is too little bits. Indeed. It's the idea that, like, it's sort of difficult to sort of force to one side or the other. It's sort of like trying to be, as it were, sort of trying to be something you're not. You're either going to sort of have too much of something that's not supposed to be there, or not enough of something that should be there. Allegory. Aggressive. Oh, I was right. Cool. Yay. Sort of monster. Military head of some description. He's the one who's sort of forcing the monster, or encouraging the monsters to sort of attack the humans and cause problems. Feel free to design humans for this, by the way. Like I said, there aren't really humans in this because I took them out for spoilers. Yeah, so we still have these up here that don't really have a particular place, and we can also make more specific story beats or ideas for the ones that we do have. Like I say, we've sort of got this idea of this is a monster that's being turned into a human, this human's being turned into a monster. Maybe we knew them both before when they were more monster/human-esque. Or whatever these two are. I kind of want to sort of take this and go, let's design the human and let's design the monster versions, because this is the in-between. do it. I did a bit too much in too short a space of time in drawing these over the course of an hour, so I'll leave the drawing for today. But maybe later, maybe we can do that maybe next Saturday or something. So to take some of these ideas and go, right, let's design additional stuff for this strange story we're working on. Because with the Dark Souls one, it was pretty self-contained, and it was like, here's all the stuff we need. With this one, we're expanding further outside of what we have. Which we sort of tried to do with the XCOM one, but I didn't have the energy at the time. Okay, so yeah. Mech-suit for humans, so this is like sort of attacking. I want there to be something to do with the mech-suit, or maybe the mech-suit isn't like explicitly turning humans into monsters, but it's like it's sort of, I don't know, causing them to behave differently, or it's showing something inside humans that they didn't know was there. I don't know, something more metaphorical. It's not an RPG unless there's way too many characters. True. Nope. Saxophone. Well, something approximating a saxophone anyway. Do we have a name for our? Well, I suppose our protagonist can be renamed, but we could have a default name. Long dog. They're a lizard. Then again, there might be a mistranslation. Like, the Japanese name makes perfect sense, but in this, for some reason, in the Western version, they're called long dog. The gecko cat. Good. What is a lizard but a scaly dog? I don't know, they sort of behave a bit more like a cat than a dog. But they can be bulky. But then so can cats. Who knows? Not every lizard is fuck lizard. I mean, there's probably a romance option in the game somewhere. But, you know. Long cat's already a thing. That's any cat you pick up. Do you be sim neighbors with sim try? Ooh, I don't know. Monster seeking monster. Who knows what your romance options could be? It could be this thing. Flying spiky chicken. It could be the lion thing with tiny wings. It could be angry dog. It could be Sphinx thing, because there's a Sphinx thing here. Anyone have any ideas what to do with the Sphinx thing? And there's also angry spiky head, sort of lion-y thing. It's got pointy ears. I don't know why it's got pointy ears, but it has pointy ears. Also dragon. Just dragon. The Sphinx is just a shop owner. That's fair enough. Merchant. You just see them randomly dotted throughout the world, and you're like, how did you get here? It's like, I'm a Sphinx. That's how I got here. I'm a Sphinx. I can do what I wish. I'm outside of the world of humans and monsters. I'm a Sphinx. Buy some potions. How many characters do we want in the main party? I mean, dunno. Usually in JRPGs there's sort of like, or in Final Fantasy games at least, there's 3 or 4 at any given time. But usually there's something between 9 and 12. You have to answer the riddle before you can buy something, yes. And it's always something like really simple, and there's a clue for it 5 feet away. Or to get a discount. Ah, that's better, yeah. And then, in that case, it's not really simple and the clue's 5 feet away. You have to buy the edition of Nintendo Power in order to actually work out this incredibly obscure riddle that nobody could work out through logic alone. The answer's on the back of the box. Noodles. Oh, noodle. I feel like this. I feel like there's some sort of personality here. This sort of quick evil thing that sort of keeps popping up and I don't know, like a scout for the evil. Oh, the robot did actually post that I'm live. These things happen. Rival turned love interest. Ooh. We could have a rival makes sense. We were both in the anti-human guard training together, and then they went off their own evil path when we discovered that the humans weren't so bad after all, and so on and so forth. And then when we were with the humans, they showed us that the humans actually weren't so good after all as well, and everybody has problems. So they're our rival, but also our mentor. That's an idea. Open them. There's a lot of stuff in the middle here. I feel like the big bad should probably be at the top here. Somewhat significant. We could put you over here because you're for the humans. Some mechanical stuff for the humans. These are hybrids being created by the big bad, going sort of either way. Does anybody like organ music? Yes, marvellous. I did try and learn this once on organ, but I mean, this bit's fine. It's the first bit that's difficult. You're not a barbarian. I never assumed you were, don't worry. I'm not being judgmental, I'm just saying, oh look, organ music. This music has been burned into my brain. Do you remember when I said that almost half of these bosses exist in a single area of the game and don't have anything to do with it? This is the music that plays in that area, and it's like... you spend a lot of time there. Okay, so this is sort of like... hang on, if we put this... actually, there's an easier way of doing this. This is the bit I liked. Human to Namu equals, oh no. Too much and not enough. Either something's missing or something's not there that's not supposed to be. Insert metaphor for pretending to be someone you're not. Insert character arc for either protagonist or secondary protagonist. Discovering who they truly are and not hiding behind blank anymore. Okay, so I've got a sort of rival character. Weird, pointy flying chicken. Still don't really know how it flies, but you know. Philosophical AF, at least for the purposes of a JRPG, anyway, or for the standards of a JRPG. Scorpion chicken, don't ask any questions. Flies with the power of spite. Love that. So this is sort of like, yeah, somebody who used to be your ally, but is very much engrossed in this idea of defeating those that seem to be causing the problems, etc. And while you know they're wrong, they do also show you how you're wrong sometimes as well, which is the best kind of rival. They're not just, again, not just black and white. You will not let go of the love interest angle. I mean, romance options. There are a lot of dialogue choices that will give you points towards the character going with a particular other character. It's befriend, rival, love interest. I mean, maybe by disc 3 they turn around and they're on your side. And then they make way for bigger problems. Escalating villains. So like, starts off as a sort of friendly, well, not sort of friendly, you know, a friendly rival, and then it goes sort of full on, you know, villain rival, and then it sort of turns around to I don't know, conciliatory. You start finding your common ground, and then we go back to friendly again. You don't necessarily see eye to eye on all things, and you still disagree on various things, but you can also understand how you've both been sort of misguided and need to see the world through different eyes. Sasuke reforms into Gaara. Those are words. Also one of your top favourite characters in one of your favourite game series. Oh, this is a weird piece of music. Wow, Sims is rude. That's rude. No one ever wants to talk to you about Naruto. I know nothing about anything that's popular. Friend turns out to be villain, becomes friend again. Oh, okay, right. I like the idea that it's still a little bit tetchy. It's not quite, you know, chummy. Occasionally you say something that's, you know, or they say something that catches you off guard, or you say something that catches them off guard. You're not, the dynamic's not quite there. You made an A-frame house for Tribe, but it looks like a big obnoxious triangle in the middle of your village. I mean, I wouldn't describe Tri as obnoxious. It certainly stands out. The Chibi just goes straight in there. I was trying to skirt around the word obnoxious. You know what I mean? He's definitely a, you know, standout personality. I was watching a documentary the other day about gardens, because I'm like that. And they went to Seattle, and there's a weird garden in Seattle that's got loads of glass sculptures in it. And I spent the entire time looking out for Troy. Where is he? Might be in the background. Being really tough when he's not here. Troy may lurk, it is their prerogative. Is that the word? This music really feels like it's from, like, FF5 or something. It's suspicious. Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. Here's the thing with all the bosses. If you want me to go through any of them and show them close up again to see what we've got going on here, I feel like this one is, like, these two are like sort of late industrial but slightly strangely cyber, you know, traditional JRPG human society that's simultaneously old-fashioned and futuristic. This one sort of fits in with that, with the sort of fighting fantasy sort of thing. This one feels like a bit out of place, is a bit too futuristic, and I don't know where it comes from. So, yeah. Trying to work out what's going on with that. Yeah, I forgot I was doing a stream and just zoomed in on some words and talking about something else. Just give it some clunky legs. I did say we could add stuff. Let's just sort of give it. Why not? I mean, its legs are higher than the strange codpiece thing. It's just embedded in the ground. Other than that, they leave a trail everywhere they go. Yeah, I think the humans have a thing about codpieces. This is. I'd like to point out that this character here is the armor's red in the game. He doesn't have to be in our version, except the pants. They're gold, so it looks a bit like Iron Man. The same sort of color scheme almost, and it's sort of like the first draft before Marvel got in and went, yeah, do you know what? We'll change that. Ooh, look at that. Oh, I like the triangle. The triangle's cool. I like that one, that sort of three-tiered one in the back. Sort of like the unusual shape with the struts and things. Anywho, golden underwear, fancy, yeah. So... That's Crow's Nest. Ah, that makes sense. Crow's got good place. A lot of fun designs. Not the rectangles I make. What to do with the rest of the monsters? Yeah, that's sort of how much of a story. We still haven't really worked out what's going on with this friend. Pain. I imagine there's a lot of pain going on, but although this one seems perfectly happy. Lots of pain, lots of scream. It has no mouth. It's covered in crystals. Have no mouth, but you must scream. Well, apparently I left the chat. That's interesting. Miss lives in 2 stacked rectangles because that's the one you made first. That's fair enough. You can always alter at a later date. It's like putting together the Beyond the Foggate book and just looking at the difference between the first comics and the last comics. And I'm like, ah. I've learned a lot since then. I live in a square with 2 lumps on the side. And one of them is you, and I'm very pleased. That works really well in Mixer chat, but in my bot, a 0 has a line through it. So it looks like you have wonky teeth. Oh no! Oh no, something's gone very wrong. Bone Chicken's probably just like too friendly, he just wants to be everyone's friend. Yeah. It's like, I just want to be a friend, eh? I don't know whether this is like a monster or sorry, whether this is part of the hybrid system. I went with the idea that it's a hybrid because it's just bones. So they were just, it's in the process of being turned into either a human or a monster. I suppose if it's hollow, it's going to be a monster to human one. Maybe it is, maybe it still is, and it's just sort of, it's confused as to what's happening to it. It's not the most intelligent of things. Yeah, don't look up the actual picture of this, because they're not as friendly. So I'm permanently confused. Oh no. That doesn't scan. Sort of, this is our sort of naive. Maybe they could be a member of the party, who knows? Naive, confused. Looking for an identity or a purpose. Maybe they don't have a memory of what they were before. We're starting to get into Final Fantasy IX territory there, but you do a specific quest, you can join your party. Optional character. Always good fun, always good value. So maybe a lot of these could be like optional characters or something. And probably some humans as well. So I'm guessing like this is a situation where the strengths of the monsters is sort of magical or supernatural or massive strength or something like that, but the strength of the humans is technology. I'm guessing that's the sort of the payoff here. You know, both humans and monsters in your party. Yeah, good mix. Everyone working together for a better world. Maybe you could get a character. Maybe this is a character. Not that. I like that idea. And they like the anonymity. They like the idea that you don't know whether they're human or monster, or most people don't know. Now, maybe that is a generic mech suit, but there is a character you can get that looks like that. And that way you can save on sprites. Yay! I'm imagining this is a sprite game. I don't know why. But you can save on models or whatever. So yeah, I like the idea of that being a character. Mech suit for humans, plus character. Again, maybe this character is sort of doesn't want to give themselves away, like they're a bit too closed in, as it were. They're a bit too trying not to get attached or get sort of expose themselves, as it were, to the outside world. Trying to come up with sort of your typical kind of JRPG, slightly too on the nose, and allegories. Sort of fear of exposure, as it were, if you'll pardon the expression. Coming out of their, albeit enormous shell. They're actually very tiny. Yeah, I mean, this is a big thing for a human to be in. So maybe that is the thing with them. Maybe. Well, no, that wouldn't make sense. I was going to say maybe you don't know through the entire game whether they're human or monsters, but if you sort of do the right dialogue options and you get them to sort of feel better about themselves and feel more comfortable around you and all that sort of stuff, you eventually find out that they're human, because they're happy to show you who they are, as it were. But then I just realised that if this is a standard thing that the humans are using in their military, it's probably a bit of a giveaway. But it is the sort of thing that an old JRPG would do without realising. It's like, oh, you don't know whether they're human, even though these things are for humans. It's a mystery. No, it's not. I'm trying to stop myself turning this into a bad JRPG. Maybe it's still early on and you find them in a more monstery context. Maybe. I want to talk about Final Fantasy IX now. The perfect analogy, but spoilers! Ah, it's that bit of music. Played a cover of this at the beginning because it's so weird. I suppose the one thing that we didn't sort of have to think about for the Dark Souls one was sort of like the order of events, because everything we just sort of had this big world with lots of different things happening and various basic connections. But with this, there is going to be sort of theoretically a story happening in order. So sort of maybe thinking about what the beats of that would be, like ignoring for a moment the side stories of characters and things like that, like mech suit friend learning to come out of their shell and naive bone friend working out who they are and what they want to be. Just the sort of what is the big bad's ultimate plan? How do they go about trying to do that, and what do we do to end up stopping it? Preferably not coincidental. Like trying to avoid coincidences. Something Final Fantasy VIII does not do. I promised myself I wouldn't bash on Final Fantasy VIII too much in this. I love it, but God, it's got problems. So I suppose the basic idea, do it. That's for a different stream. Like I say, I'll get Try and Weird and Kiro on for that. We'll all do it together. So yeah, so I suppose the big bad's, like I say, the big bad's plan is to sort of, your internet's wonk. Oh no, it's not me, is it? You're gonna head out. Oh, have a fantastic time. I hope you enjoyed the time that was here, however wobbly the internet was. Yeah. Good night, oops. Think the big, yeah. You think the big bad's plan is to mash the two worlds together? Oh, so are they separate? I know I said at the beginning there was like a kind of portal thing. But for a while I was sort of assuming that they were both in the sort of same world, but just in different parts of the world. But maybe it is, I mean, if this is a JRPG, there's probably two planets. You said you think twice. Ah. Therefore you are twice. Extrapolating from the works of Descartes. Oh, we listened to this music already. Come on, random. That'll do. You were thinking two worlds, but which do have a connection to each other. Oh, okay, so there's some sort of magical, through portals and such. Maybe there's a story in and of the portals. Maybe there's a point in the game where you go to the human world and then the portal gets closed in some way. And it's a catastrophe, so why are the portals closing? Who knows? Magic, yes. So is it... Oh, I joined the chat. Yay! Hello, me. This is why I haven't introduced a thing in my bot that says hello to people who just joined the chat, because it's like... It happens randomly. Multiple worlds is definitely JRPG stuff, yeah. Although, funnily enough, not 8. Pretty much every other Final Fantasy but 8. It's more concerned with time than location. But, I suppose same's true of 10. Anyway, okay, so are you like... How does the protagonist fit into all this? What are they doing? Why do they get involved? Do they start off as a kind of misguided, we're gonna help save our society and we're training up to, you know, fight the evils that are threatening us and all that sort of stuff, and then, you know, maybe that's when the portal goes down and they're on a skirmish to the other world. They're like, oops, can't go back now. What do we do? I don't know, hide? And it's then you start learning, oh, hang on. They think the same thing about us. What's going on? But then why did the portal go down? Again, coincidences. We've got to avoid convenient coincidences. I remember there was a 23 Pixar story writing rules image going around the internet a while ago. And I think I disagreed with 22 of them, but one of them was something along the lines of, a coincidence that helps your characters is cheating. A coincidence that hinders your characters is sort of like character development. It's like the characters have to actually do something and work on it to overcome it. So coincidences aren't bad, you just make sure they don't help your characters. Maybe the Big Bad's experiments take the power magic from the portals. Oh, okay, that's cool. That's good. Yeah, because where would the energy come from to do something like turn monsters into humans and vice versa? So they've been secretly tapping it. Or maybe not so secretly. Maybe that's sort of like an open thing the humans... while they're in the humans' world. Well, I suppose... no, maybe it's not an open thing, because they do want to travel back and forth. Maybe they have their own portal. Maybe that's what it is. They're taking the power from that portal to make their own. Either way, the Big Bad has use for power. And the portal has power, so... okay, that's cool. So I like the idea that the protagonist is sort of like on this expeditionary force, you know, trying to hold back the tides of these evil people who are... these evil humans who are invading and taking our... whatever. And then while they're on their time out there, their way back is somehow stopped. And they've got to stay there for a bit. And while they're staying there and hiding and making sure they don't get seen, they start to hear what's going on. They overhear the enemy talking about their situation and their plight and think, hang on. And maybe this is where the rival... you're with the rival at this point. So they're part of your group. And they're sort of like, don't listen to that. You know. Maybe they know we're here. Maybe they're trying to convince us and it's sort of like that. They're trying to stop you from understanding their side of things. And that's when you part ways. And maybe there's like a thing where it's like, like you come across a vulnerable human or something, and the rival goes to, nah, kill it, it's the enemy, and you're like, no, and you stand in the way, and then there's a fight, and that sort of thing happens. This is just a child. The child of the enemy, etc., etc. Like, I don't want to make our rival one-dimensional, they're just, you know, we're here to do a mission, this is what we were told to do, these people have been attacking us for ages. Can't just let a little one go, because then they'll grow up and be a big one and be a problem. Should I write this down? I don't know. Just sort of chatting about this sort of introductory couple of scenes. Oh, I suppose there's quite a lot of stuff happening in the monster world, and you're introduced to all these weird characters, and then you take the portal. This is quite Final Fantasy sort of start. I'm thinking of 5 as well. Sort of being sent out to do war crimes and not really wanting to do it. You probably go through the stream later, write it all down. You did the same for the Dark Souls Falls AU. I'm glad you're enjoying them. Yeah, just sort of got to work out where to go from there. You love it. I'm glad. We don't do these very often, but and there's usually a bit like now where I'm like, I don't really know where to go. So I suppose this is the bit where you're like, sort of separated. Maybe is it just the protagonist and the rival who went out together? And now you've got to make your way on your own, or were there others? I don't know. But that's when you meet sort of sympathetic humans, maybe, who are like, hey, we know you're not evil. And we're like, well, yeah, I thought you were evil, and turns out you're not either. And then the big humans come along and with the guns and such and go, monsters! Monster sympathizers! And chase you all away. So you human outcasts and monster outcasts. Parts of this remind you of Tales and the Legend of Heroes 2, and agreed you love this. I like the idea that it is falling into a sort of JRPG sort of typical story format. Because that's kind of what we did with the Dark Souls one. Try and make it a bit like the source material. Maybe apart from the Force, you and the rival... Apart from the Force, you and the rival were apart... Oh, maybe apart from the Force, you and the rival were apart from... Yeah. Read, Chris. Maybe apart from the Force you and the rival were a part of, there were also just some monsters stranded in the human world. Yes, yeah. So you maybe come across some other monsters that just sort of happen to be there, or maybe that's part of the thing. You know, the disruptions with the portal of the energy warping or whatever is just randomly teleporting humans to the other world and monsters to the human world. And it's all getting a bit out of hand, and that's part of the merging of the two worlds together. Just little pockets are starting to swap over. Yeah, you like that. Yeah. Okay, so it's got sort of like... I feel like I should write something. So sort of basic itinerary for the story. So protag and rival to human world. Expedition or whatever, military or otherwise. Like the big bad is just is not just using the magic of the teleporters for experiments, but also as a way to literally merge the worlds. Yeah, starting to approach ideas that I had for my Final Fantasy VIII rewrite, but regardless. Protagonist and rival, yeah, human world expedition. Stuck on one side. Portal malfunction. Sort of like vulnerable human. Equals the protagonist versus the rival. They disagree on whether or not they should kill the human or whatever. And then they split up and so on and so forth. Find other monsters. Stranded randomly. It turns out this is because of the merging worlds idea. I left the chat again. How dare I? Maybe then what you could do. Maybe do we still have the vulnerable human character? I don't know. Or because what I was thinking is, I can't trust anyone, not even myself. I'm betraying myself behind my own back. Which is far more flexible than I thought I Could be. Not even sure I can scratch my own back, let alone betray it. Because I was thinking of that sort of thing, that typical scene where, you know, you get captured by the humans and you're in prison, and then maybe for some reason this character is also in prison. And working together you break out. Maybe you do know they're human and you understand, but the reason they're in prison is because they learn to sympathize with the monsters, possibly being in this sort of suit, and sort of not feeling and not being treated human anymore, or something like that. And they help you break out, and that's how you meet them in prison. So you've got the sort of the vulnerable human who you're sort of protecting, who's maybe like a healer character. I don't know why they'd be vulnerable if they're a healer, but but then you also get the human in the big suit who's going to be your sort of tank. You're like the fast character, the thief or whatever. Not thief, but rogue thing. Prison. Meet. Well, Bond, let's say. Gecko Cat would be a roguelike character, yeah. Meet, bond with... the healer. Bond with big armor. Character who gives a pseudonym, doesn't give the real name because they're like, again, hiding from the world. And Gecko Neko! Ah! Love it. It would be like... it'd be like that because there's an 8-character limit for the names. I was trying to come up with the pun a while ago and I couldn't come up with anything. That's perfect. Gecko Neko! Yeah, so maybe this is like the character you meet. The other monster who's sort of stranded. I don't know how they've survived up until this point, but they're trying their best. Who would that be? Maybe like black magic or something? Damaging magic? They've got the rogue, the damaging magic, you've got the tank, and your healer. So that's a good mix. And randomly, let's say, black magic. Black magic blob. They were teleported from their home into the in the water to dry land. Yeah, they're very much out of their element. Their element being water. Character and escape. Oh, this music. This is quite a nice motif. This sort of bell thing. It goes on throughout the whole thing. Maybe usually they can gradually shift from water to land, but because of the teleportation was too fast, they just got stuck and you have to help them. Yeah, that's cool. So, need help. Help. Sudden. Expose you to land. Or to non-water. Yeah, so you've got a pretty solid party now. You've got the healer, the rogue, the black magic, white magic. I like coming up with unconventional interpretations of these things, and I'm pretty sure these are unconventional interpretations of the idea of rogue and black mage. So yeah, that's a sort of nice sort of start, sort of setup. And now you're in the human world. You're a party of 2 humans and 2 monsters, and you've got to get out there and work out what's going on. And obviously, if you go back to the monster world, you're bringing back humans, and the monsters are like, what are you doing? You're bringing humans. Or maybe you can go back, you can take the one in the suit, because you can convince people that it's a monster. And you have to hide the healer one or something like that. And then they discover and they think, you're a spy or you're betraying us or something like that. And then nobody's got a home and you're all outcasts from everywhere. Maybe they can gradually shift from water to... Oh, yes, sorry. Do you like that? I feel like it's a sort of... the setup you need to sort of realise that things... or for people who were previously quite convinced of the situation to realise, hang on, actually things are pretty equally bad on both sides. What a fun and happy game for kids you're making. Welcome to JRPGs. Final Fantasy IV begins with a genocide. Yeah. What about this protagonist does not scream fun and happy? In fact, that's literally all they can say. They can just scream the words fun and happy. What about this is not fun and happy? Yeah, the Final Fantasy games are a bit... Oh, this sort of feels like an old-style Final Fantasy game, this story. Which I'm all on board with. The later Final Fantasy's got a little bit anime, for my tastes. It's Funbird's cousin. Maybe Funbird's in there somewhere. Funbird's an optional boss. It's like one of those... It's one of those enemies that you meet who's friendly, and if instead of attacking them, you give them like a healing thing, they give you something in return. Something like that. Don't bring Funbird into this. Are you saying Funbird isn't a monster? This is their theme tune? It's an abomination, not a monster. Okay, so it's a... Which direction? Human to monster or monster to human? It's one of the creations of the big bad. Maybe it is the optional boss. Maybe it's like, you know, the Omega weapon of this game. The ultra-hard super boss. Confetti is an insta-kill. I just like what's happening on stream right now. Just this picture with this music. It's like those things where it's like somebody staring off into the middle distance, and then you sort of zoom in on their head, and you sort of hear what they're thinking, but it's just that music. That's all that's going on. This is sort of the rogue character. This is the black magic, and then there's the humans who are. Sort of the warrior tank character, and then a human who's a healer. And that's how they learn, because maybe like when you rescue the vulnerable human, and you have the fight with the rival sort of severely wounds you, but then is eventually sort of pushed away or sent off somewhere by you, and you're badly wounded, and then the human comes up and heals your wounds, and you're like, the human helped. What? I like how granular this is getting. I was expecting sort of more overall story stuff, but we've kind of written the first 2 hours of the game. I like how these guys are just sort of sitting up here, just they're doing what they do. Absolutely nothing. I don't know, maybe these are like bosses over the course of the game. Maybe when you return, you have to fight bosses because the monsters are like, you're in league with the humans now, so on and so forth. Sorry, it's a personal joke between me and my bot. They become big angry, yeah. Don't like you no more. But neither do the humans. And you have to work out a way of reconciling things. Maybe it's not a simple case of, why don't you just sit down and talk? But it's more a case of, we need to undermine the thing that's causing this, which is the big bad. How do you discover the big bad? Like, maybe you discover the human version of them. Because you already know the monster version, or you already know the monster version, and the humans already know the human version, and maybe there's something about the two of them that's like, oh, they're the ones that are causing the problem. And during some sort of confrontation at some point, they reveal that they're the same person or something. I don't know, we're just thinking sort of quite far ahead as, I don't know. Usually with JRPGs, one of the things that sort of becomes apparent is the problem you start with in the game is not the problem you end with. That's usually solved about halfway through. So I suppose the problem that we start with is the war between the humans and the monsters, and the problem that we end with is the big bad trying to merge the two worlds together and, I don't know, destroy all life on it or something. JRPG-esque. So we need to find a way of getting the humans and the monsters to realise that they need to work together to solve a bigger problem. And then, like 5 seconds after they've decided to work together, like during the peace treaty, the big bad comes in and everybody gets trapped in an alternate dimension or something, or killed, or... And that's when the big reveal is... You know, maybe they're like, during the peace treaty, there's like the monster version of the big bad is there, and they're like, I wonder where the human is, our general who helped us in this fight. And the monster version sort of snickers to camera, and you don't exactly know what's happening. And then they reveal halfway through, I was both all along, and now I don't have a face. They all freaky teleporter accidents all over, yes. Like during the merge, half of both worlds just gets lost, because if you're going to merge two worlds together, where does the bit that you're merging with go? You know, now I don't have a face. Yes, that is. Yes. Maybe because this is a JRPG, and we need some sort of coincidence, because these things happen. Maybe the vulnerable person that you meet is like the daughter of a king or something. And she wasn't like an outcast. She ran away or whatever because she realised something was off. You know, she's a princess, because you got to have a princess in these things, haven't you? And that's how you get your in to finding the reconciliation or whatever it is. Because otherwise, how are four random people gonna get two planets to realise they need to cooperate? Particularly when the thing that's causing the problems that they need to cooperate against is also quite high ranking in those worlds. You know. Problem solving here, you know? Maybe. Villain's motivation, cause problems on purpose. That's a good motivation. Chaos. Deliberate chaos. Very carefully planned out chaos. Because who knows what random chunks of the planet are going to be merged. You know, I don't know if the bit I'm standing in is going to survive. And you end up with this sort of patchwork world of just bits and bobs of both worlds. It's very Final Fantasy V now. It's always been done before. Now, beside the Secret Evolution and Flying Demon Chin are just hanging out there. Yeah, they're people you know back in the monster world, and maybe they're not sort of heavily involved in the sort of antagonism, as it were. So they're the people who help you out when you come back, but you've been sort of, you know, ostracized, and they're like, well, I mean, we'll kind of look after you, but if things go wrong, we're not going to fight for you or anything like that. Yay, NPCs. These are NPC friends. Stick to the capitals. NPC friendos, they help you out when the going gets tough. Especially this little guy. Little armadillo friend. Hello. I'd be interested because probably the next passive draw through that we do will be Final Fantasy VIII. So I'm interested to see whether or not you guys remember any of this and whether you'll be disappointed by how these actually appear in the game. It doesn't particularly matter because, as I say, they come out of nowhere and then you kill them and you never think of them again. But that's why I like giving them reason. I give them purpose and personality. It's like, this is a cool design, I want to do something with it. I say cool design. Hi. Maybe you got sorry, maybe you sort of have this is a complete aside. I like the idea of having these sorts of merchants sort of around and just sort of popping up everywhere. But you have the monster merchant and you also have sort of the human merchant. But they both wear the mask. The mask is the sign of the merchant, as it were. It's a big old mask. Again, save on sprite work. Regardless, that's an aside. What if it's just the implication that the merchant can also shift between human and monster forms, but just doesn't care and wants to sell stuff? That's good. I like that. So they are actually the same thing. They can also shift. Maybe they turn out to be like a secret boss or something, but not not trying to do anything. They just sort of they want stuff. I don't know, or maybe it's the same. Maybe the merchant does sort of get involved in a sense, but they don't want to. But you realise that the merchant has the same ability that the big bad monster has, and how they got that. Maybe that can be sort of a bit of a foot in the door as to working out why the big bad can do what they do, and working out how to stop them or something. The fact that it's the same person is lampshaded but never explained. Or that. or you could just use that as a kind of setting the stage. Here's a thing that can swap between monsters and humans. And then that lends credence to the reveal of the big bad being both monster and human later, because it's this isn't something that was taken out of nowhere. We already know a character that can do that. Yeah, extra foreshadowing. That's cool. I like that. They're the same. Acts as foreshadowing. for Big Bad. Cool. Still haven't worked out the plan with regards to how to actually take down the Big Bad, yeah? Once we finally worked out how to reconcile the monsters and the humans, and then everything goes disastrously wrong and everyone dies. Or half the people die. It's Thanos, I guess. So what then? I suppose the humans and the monsters... Maybe the humans and the monsters don't... Maybe you're set back from that, rather than defeating the Big Bad might be important. I mean, if it's a JRPG, it's probably just the power of friendship. But... Which I suppose is the point of this, you know, working together. That's I suppose that's the point of this story, is there are two sides that are actually very similar, but all they've known is fighting one another, and it's only by working together that they can save everyone and reverse everything that happened, in a way that isn't pulled out of nowhere. Or is. What was I saying? I was going to say something, can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, maybe it's a setback. Maybe they were already, tentatively, but they were ready to start working together to solve the bigger problems of the world merging. But then when the big calamity happened, they just went right back to blaming each other for what happened. So you're kind of back to square one again, and the conflict is still waging, but now, well, the conflict is still raging, but now it's happening in just like isolated pockets all around the world. Because suddenly human villages have got monsters next to them, and monster villages have got humans next to them, and it's all a bit more chaotic. World of chaos. Two worlds of order, and then the world of chaos. Why not? And then you got to do loads of mini side quests to reconcile these various villages, and I like that. small pocket based mini games and stuff like that too. Yeah, that's how you pad out the second half of the game. So sort of stage 1 is 2 worlds, and stage 2 is merged world. They do succeed. Your job is to unmerge them. And this leads to side quests. Reconciling humans and monsters who are now living together, and they're not used to that. Because they probably blame each other for what happened. Because the monsters assume that the thing that was... The big bad was a human who turned into a monster, and the humans assume that it was a monster that turned into a human, and you never know what it is in the end. Maybe it's just the void, who knows. They're having Tales of the Abyss flashbacks. Ooh. I don't know what that is. I like, there's a lot more structure in this one than I was expecting there to be. We could probably actually plan this out properly. Like I said, we've set up the thing I don't want to risk is Final Fantasy IXing this, where you have like a really solid group of characters at the start, and then as the game goes on, you just add other characters that don't really fit, and because like we've got our group to start with. We've got our rogue, our black mage, our white mage, and our warrior. And it's like, okay, we can add more characters, but are they going to be useful? Are we gonna want those characters? But yeah, I like this. Maybe at first you try to undo the merging of worlds, but eventually you find out you can't, or find out things are better this way, but you have to stop the big bad from going too far from making the hybrids. True, yes, they're trying to merge a bit too much. Maybe what you end up doing is you end up making a second world with all the bits that got lost in the merge, so you end up with 2 merged worlds. Maybe that's the ending. Everything that was lost in the merge becomes a new planet. I say planet, it's a donut, we know this. It's a JRPG, it's gotta be a donut. 2 interlocking donuts. 2 merged worlds that are both inhabited by humans and monsters. Yeah, that's the end, is we create these sort of 2... We take the bits that were merged and lost, we take those out of limbo and reconstitute it into another world. So, and then... Oh. And 2 merged worlds. Stage 2 plus stage 1 minus stage 2. Two interlocking donuts that you can take a bus between. Maybe there's like, at the point that the donuts are closest, that's where the portal is. At the, it's not apogee, is it? I don't know. Yeah. So that's the goal. You work out that there's a way of doing that. You can't undo what happened, but you can make something better from it. There's another lesson to learn. So that's cool, and that's probably where we're going to end it. This was fun. I like having no idea what I'm doing in these. Just full of life lessons today. It's a JRPG. It's got to be full of lessons. Yeah. It's good. I like this. Cool. Hopefully I can make sense of it in the future, because I do want to draw some of these characters now. I've got so many other things to do. But yeah, thank you for coming along. Thank you everyone for your ideas and throwing things in. I like it. I was not expecting Gecko Neko to be the main character, but here we are. Thank you for coming to stream. And thank you for contributing. Particularly the name Gecko Neko. Yeah, it was good. It was. I wasn't sure how this was going to happen, because the Dark Souls 2 one was great, and then the XCOM one didn't really go very far. It could have if I actually focused on it and had the energy. Because we came up with like characters and a world and stuff, but didn't really sort of get into it as much as I should have. And I was like, no, which way's this gonna go? I don't know. Because also the bosses are a bit weird. You know, how can you make a story out of the weird bosses? And we got that. So yeah. Thank you everyone for coming along. XCOM was also the first Fools AU. It was the second actually. We did that after Dark Souls. Didn't really know how to do things. I deviated from, yeah, it was. I only have myself to blame, Jimmy. I think this was when I just stopped Parsnipmon and I kind of wanted a different project to do. It was still fun. I'm glad you had fun with it. And I'm glad you had fun with this. I do like this idea for a story. It's cool. Yeah. Thank you for coming along. I don't really know where to go from here. I love making things. I know, that's part of why I like doing this, is because I like seeing people be enthusiastic about creating and coming up with ideas. It's an interesting story building exercise, if nothing else. So that's what I like doing. I mean, this is a sort of an extreme version of a thing I like to do, which is I like to take things that I like but that have problems, and either take elements out and see how I could replace them and see how that affects the story that exists, or only take out elements, only keep elements I like, and then build up something larger around it. This is an extreme form of that, is you just take the designs of the bosses and then you've got pretty much free reign to build anything around those. I like doing those as sort of, you know, world building and story writing exercises and seeing what works, what doesn't, you know, maybe your ideas actually turn out to cause more problems than the things you got rid of, and so on and so forth. Law! Yeah, I like these sorts of things. Rock lore, yay. Rock is also a character. Rock is a monster. They don't move very far, but they're friendly. So yeah, thank you for coming along. This is good. I like, and also, you know, doing creative exercises that aren't necessarily explicitly artistic as well. I feel like I get a bit stuck down. Oh, I've also updated the thanks for the Patreon, because there are a couple of people. I've changed your names to what your name is on Patreon, because that seems fair. And there's a couple of people, I know, new patron, and somebody I have been forgetting to put on there for a while now. So my apologies to them. But they're very supportive, absolutely, yeah. They're like the Moogle, or like that sort of little, sort of relentlessly happy mascot character that keeps popping up throughout the game. That's who Rock is. Yeah. Hey, look, there's the thing from the Dark Souls one. Dark Souls AU, the Skellybob Lords, benevolent leaders overseeing the outcasts of the worlds of Drangleic. It includes spiders, rats, and the horrible consumed by a giant. It's gone now. Consumed by a giant frog face or whatever it was. Yeah. We shall have to add some of the lore for this game in there. Yes, I look forward. If Chibi, if you're going to make anything out of this, or if anyone else wants to make anything out of this, I look forward to seeing if anyone takes this a bit further. Random hug. No random hug. Deliberate hug. And many of them. And reciprocated, indeed. You definitely want to write all this down, but if you want any of what I've got here, feel free to ask. Yeah. There is a possibility of maybe next Saturday. Actually, what's next Saturday? No, next Saturday will be an RPG day, wouldn't it? So there's no point doing anything. Maybe we could do this, like just drawing some characters from this. And then the Saturday after that, we can work on stickers for Patreon, because I don't want to do that when people aren't there. I've got some nice ideas. By the way, if anyone is following on Patreon, I posted a form where you can suggest ideas for sticker sheets. I have some nice ideas, things I wouldn't have thought of before, so I'll probably just pick ideas from there for next time. So you people don't have to be there when I make them, but you can, you know. Oh, next Saturday's no Starfinder. Oh, okay, maybe it's worth doing stickers then. But we'll work something out. Could you put this file in Discord? Can do, absolutely. Maybe something else, but no Starfinder. Okie dokie. I'm like slightly. I don't really have that much personal enthusiasm for like tabletop RPGs. I've never really been part of one. But Dark did post the Dishonored one, and I'm kind of excited about that. That might be my in. Who knows? At the very least, I want to buy the book. More lore. Tell me about the other isles. Tell me about Tivia. Lore! I'm a big fan of lore. More into lore than story. But yeah. I should end now. My throat's getting a bit tired. Poor thing. I've been having seasonal grogginess. So, yes. Thank you for coming along. Tomorrow is Bloodboon. Where's the Bloodboon? There's the Bloodboon. I've been doing some off-screen stuff for that. Nothing major, just running around picking up items that I missed. Stuff like that. Buying things from the shop. So I've got a lot of show and tell to do at the beginning of the next stream. But after that, we shall be continuing with the story and fighting the ring wraiths again. Hopefully more successfully than last time. The Blibben. Yes, Blibben. So look forward to Blibben. Who else is streaming? Is somebody streaming between now and then? Is it Try or Weird? Are they streaming later? I can never remember. I should stop saying I can never remember and actually look these things up. You know? That sounds hard. I mean, people have made it relatively easy by setting up a calendar, so What if you just never remember? You're gonna punch the Sims, why do they hate triangles? Oh no. Triangles are, if anything, simpler than squares. Then again, if you work on a grid system, I don't know. Work on a hex system, then it's like triangles, but 6 of them. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Thank you. Yes, thanks for stream. I should end the stream. Thank you for coming along. Have a wonderful time, everybody. I'll put this in Discord. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for making these fun. I always worry about these ones, because it's very much dependent on user interaction, and it's good. And lots of fun. I'm glad. I'm glad you can have lots of fun. Chibi, you are now allowed to deflate. Enjoy your deflation and subsequent rest and relaxation that is well deserved. Enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful time, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow, maybe. If not, enjoy yourselves elsewhere. Goodbye.